the meeting. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll call this recommending committee meeting of September 30th to order. Are we in compliance with the open meeting law?
Yes, we are.
This meeting has been posted in various locations throughout the city. We'll consider the first bill on the agenda, which is agenda item number 3, bill number 2008-44, updates the parking infraction procedures of the municipal code relating to leased or rented vehicles and the procedures pertaining to the collection fees that are chargeable for fines and penalties referred to a collection agency. This is proposed by Mark Vincent, Director of Finance and Business Services.
Yes, Councilwoman. I'll make a presentation here, and then we have staff from the Finance and Business Services Department here if you have any questions. This bill does a couple of things. First of all, it was brought to our attention that there isn't enough time for those who own vehicles that are rented or leased. When someone rents a vehicle and gets a parking citation, there's a procedure by which that person, rather than the owner of the vehicle, could be held liable, but it requires that notice of the name and address and phone number of that person be given to the city. And the existing code has that required to be happening within 7 calendar days, and that's simply not enough time. And it's brought to our attention by some of those who engage in the business of renting cars that they needed more time. So first thing this bill will do is increase that time from 7 days to 30 calendar days. Second thing the bill does is that it brings the collection fee process when we refer to a private agency, a collection agency, delinquent accounts. The practice has been to charge up to 25% instead of exactly 25%, and so that the code in that regard will be amended to say that the amount of the fee may not exceed 25%. It also indicates that that collection fee can be added to the judgment when the city proceeds to collect the fee under the code. So we recommend approval.
Do we have anybody from staff that wanted to make additional comments? Anybody here in the audience? Any citizen participation?
Yes.
Sir. By one of the mics, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Keith Duffy with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I'm also representing many of the rental car companies in Southern Nevada, and we do approve of this, or we basically think there's a mutual beneficial ordinance, and we basically support the proposed changes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Did you have any questions you wanted to ask Mr. Barlow?
No, I'm fine.
Did you wish to make a motion?
Yes, I would like to move to do that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The motion passes. We'll move to the next agenda item, number 4, bill number, and thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Bill number 2008-45 updates various provisions of the city zoning regulations relative to certain land use categories and development standards, proposed by N. Margot Wheeler, Director of Planning and Development.
Thank you. Councilwoman and Councilman, I did get a summary sheet to your liaison staff earlier today. I apologize I didn't get the summary sheet to you sooner. This is really a matter of housekeeping matters. What it is a list of uses that are not, that there is either conflicts or are not allowed in various zoning categories. So, for instance, one of the things that comes up is we don't have a grocery store use. And as you know, we'll often have like a packaged liquor, and then it'll say accessory to general retail. But grocery store is what people are looking for. So what we're proposing to do is add the term grocery store to the code so that we have a term that's more exact. There's also language that has come up in the past with regard to the airport overlay district, where Nellis Air Force Base had contacted the mayor and asked us to include them in the areas where we look at height and airport impact. So we have done that. We're proposing to make the traditional development and down to a 50-acre size rather than the 80-acre size. There's been a request for consideration of 40 acres because that is apparently a more exact size within quarter sections. And so staff would, with regard to the TD, be certainly amenable to 40 acres instead of 50 acres for it to be in compliance with the section road issues here in Southern Nevada. We're also making changes with regard to solar panels. Right now, the way the code is written, solar panels are considered a height extension and oftentimes makes them not preferred because a variance would be necessary. The proposal is that solar panels would not be counted as part of the building height, so that the building would be required to be the height by code, but a solar panel could be added to that. There are a few other things, but again, these are all just record keeping. As we go along in the utilization of the code, what we do is make a note of things that are problematical, things that come up at a council meeting, things that are requested of us, and so this is a list of changes that comes from that ongoing list that we have. That concludes staff report if there's any questions.
Any other comments from members of staff or from the public? Hearing none, how about you, Councilman Barlow? Do you have any comments you wish to make or questions?
Actually, I do. I want to thank Director Whittler for bringing this item forward. My question is pertaining to the height of the solar panel. I understand that the height of the building in the current status that it is, and that the panel should not increase the height of a building. However, forward thinking, my thought is, should we not have some level of restriction as it pertains to the height of a solar panel? For example, if an applicant comes in and has a solar panel that sits 10 feet above the building on a pole, and that can create an unsightly vision or view for buildings. So I would like some level of restrictions when it comes to the height of solar panels, so that we're not caught off guard with having no restriction as to a height of those panels.
Councilman, the solar panels would still be reviewed as part of a site development plan review and would be able to be considered as a, at that time of review. We are proposing that roof-mounted solar panel units would be permitted as a conditional use, and that allows the staff to review those panels specifically.
Okay, so it will be coming back as a plan review.
Yes. It'll be part of a plan review.
Okay.
But
Clear.
that means that the solar panel height might vary from building to building, but it would come back to be reviewed?
Staff it would be, if it's part of a large development, for instance, if you're looking at the site development plan review for a shopping center or for a condominium complex, something like that, it would be part of that review and you would be seeing it. In the case of a single-family home, as a conditional use, what that means is that the staff would take a look at it when it comes in. Because, you're right, Councilwoman, there's an angle that has to be maintained in order to face in a southerly direction, and staff's job would be to ensure that the angle was no higher than was necessary in order to have the solar panel function.
Okay. I had a, excuse me?
I said thank you for that.
You're welcome. And could I just ask, in your second box on the right-hand side of the front page, it says TCP. I can't remember what TCP is.
That's the tourist commercial, which used to be a designation for casinos, and now they're just regular commercial. We already got rid of the general plan designation, and now we're getting rid of the zoning that goes along with it.
So when you say amended to indicate that no TCP is required, that means you're moving it out in a way?
Right, but gaming still requires all the things that
Right,
gaming requires.
okay. Well, that's why I didn't realize, I guess. No tourist
Margot?
commercial
Yes.
here.
I'm wondering if she's referring to the,
Are you looking at
issue-
temporary commercial
yeah,
permit?
temporary commercial.
Oh, I'm sorry, different TCPs.
Oh.
Where-
It's that second box on it's the last box on the second line. So it's the second box on the right-hand column.
Oh, that has to do, okay, let me double check. This is the use table with regard to requirements for seasonal displays. Let me double check on the chart. Thank you, Val, for that. Let me see if I can find that real fast. Where is his seasonal? What I'm seeing is that it's either a temporary commercial permit or it's allowed seasonally based upon requirements that are already in the code.
Well, basically, then what it's saying is you don't need to have a temporary commercial permit
You
if
just-
your use meets Title 19.18,
Right,
.10.
right.
Council?
Yes.
Yeah, if I could clarify that, we already have not required a TCP for either seasonal uses or temporary contractors' construction yards if they met the code, but the idea of this amendment was to put it in the tables. There's been some confusion because it wasn't reflected in the tables, people were confused, and so that's what we're doing, is we're conforming the tables to the text. Does that sound right?
Right, yeah, I'm looking in the text of the staff report, page 5, it says, "A conflict exists between the use table," as Val indicated, "and Title 19. Title 19 section said no TCP is required, and yet it wasn't shown as allowed in the tables. So again, it's a correction of an inconsistency within the existing code.
Just eliminating that.
Yeah,
in that
which is
particular-
what most of these things are, is just those sort of housekeeping things. With
I
the
just didn't know what it was, and I
I'm sorry.
wanted to be sure. That's okay. Did you wish to make a motion, Councilman? Hello?
Yes, I would like to move to do that.
All in favor? Aye.
Councilwoman? Just to clarify,
Oh,
would that...
on the 40
did you
feet,
want to
on the 40
remove the
acres.
50 down to 40 for the TD zoning? That would require this to be a First Amendment. It's an issue that Margot had indicated somebody had requested.
We had that request from the development community, and the 50 was not anything set in stone, and when they indicated that 40 was more appropriate based upon section roads, we felt that that was a legitimate comment. So that would be the minimum size for a TD would be 40 acres rather than the 50 that staff has proposed.
All right. That's your last box in the first column across.
Yes.
And development said they'd rather have it 40 acres instead of
It
50.
has to do with the sections.
And it's the way the sections are.
Yes.
I would move for that First Amendment and then would you like to restate your motion, or can he just make that amendment?
I'll restate my motion, that's fine.
Okay.
I would like to move to do that, subject to the new amendment, the new version of the first.
And that will be in section 1, and in section 16, we'll bring that back as a First Amendment with the change from 50 to 40 acres.
All right. And now, is there any public participation? Any questions?
Did you want to take a vote on that?
Oh, I did take a vote. Oh, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Any public participation, comments? Seeing none, the meeting's